Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more riding with Dakota here. So get her ready. Same preparation as I usually do. Kind of step in my stirrup. She seems good. I'll swing on. Let her check out my hand. I want to kind of be a little bit more deliberate with telling her when I have rewards and when I don't, so that she's not quite so worried about it. Um, but I was just going to work on her getting used to riding with the saddle. So I'm going to let my ground person let me go here and kind of add all the things together. So like riding with the saddle is still pretty new to her. Riding with the bit still pretty new as well. So I'm just kind of adding all that stuff together. And then obviously working on trotting and getting toward cantering here. So just getting her to bend to a stop here and just wait for me is what I would prefer. We're just trying to do like a little plan. She's being really nice right here, but she kind of thinks that when I pet her that she's supposed to walk off. And she's not being bad. Like, I have inadvertently trained her for this. So punishing her is not going to help at all. I'm just going to flex her to a stop. But we're making a little plan of like where to ask her to trot and start working on that because I'm going to do a little bit more posting and we're going to trot for a little bit longer period of time. So that's why my ground person has a lunge with me. So he's just going to connect the riding to the groundwork, so like the lunging and the round thing that we've been doing. So she's a little stiff there, but I wanted to bend her to a stop because I didn't ask her to leave yet. And again, this is a problem that I have created because I've been rewarding the go forward and I haven't been rewarding the stand still enough. So she's just thinking, oh, like my rider wants me to go forward. So she's been going forward, which is totally like makes sense, especially to her. And at the time I didn't know the importance about balancing behaviors, especially with using positive reinforcement. So again, I'm just bending her to a stop. You just can't really see it as well because we are unfortunately behind the tree. Because again, you'll see as we go through the videos, I improve with the horses and I improve with my videoing skills and putting my camera in places where you can actually see me. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. I know that it's not perfect, but I did want to document for trading sessions. So you can still get something out of it even though it's not perfect. Like, I totally understand that's not perfect. It's okay. So I think she wanted to trot off there on her own. So again, just like I was saying, she's thinking already going forward. So from this point, like what I should have been doing is working on bending to a stop, rewarding her for that, and clicking and treating her for stopping, standing still, and building up the amount of time that she can do that. So at this point in time, I'm really stuck on there she finds it, and that looks really good actually because I'm clicking her for standing still and finding that stop. So that's exactly what I should be doing. So even though I know I have in this lesson in my mind is, oh, I really want to work on trotting, you know, I want to progress and this is the next step, like she is telling me right now by anticipating and wanting to do the trot that I should be working on the standstill. So I know that's hard when your plans don't always match what the horse's plans are, and like I'm still learning about that, but at the time, like it's hard too because I would like, oh, I really want to ride this horse in this amount of time, which right now is ridiculous. I take the time the horse needs, but um, like at the time I was really stuck on my timeline. So when your horse is telling you these things, they're telling you this is what I need to work on today, and so it should be more of a communication than, oh well, I want to work on whatever this and that. And so um, so again, she's hopping into the trot on her own, which is a very nice trot. Like it's very relaxed, it's very calm. Again, she's not being bad, she's not being worried. She's not like running away and being like, "Oh my gosh, this is scary." She's just thinking that this is what the rider wants. So she's going into it and she's coming back really nicely. So um, not being bad at all. There's definitely different times when the horse is running away or feeling tense and tight, and there's a different problem at hand with that. Um, for her, that's not what's happening. So again, she wanted to trot off. She kind of tripped. There's like the tree roots right there because obviously the tree's right there. And she's not the most graceful as you've seen. Like I probably accidentally have rewarded the tripping too because I think in one of the beginning videos when we were trotting, she tripped and I accidentally clicked at the same time because she was trotting. So now she's kind of doing that. So that's one of those things that unwanted behaviors can get in there. So um, she kind of wants to look the other way. So I'm just going to bend her, put a bend in her, and she goes ahead and follows that feel, and I get her attention back, which is nice. That's really good for her for being so young. I do appreciate that for her. She was looking at something off in the woods there. So just kind of do some steering. I want to get just make sure all my buttons are working before I do the trot. That was my goal at this point in time at least. So that's what I was trying to do. But again, I should have been working on stopping and standing still. So. And my dog's probably jumping around in the background, but I'm trying to get it together here in the audio, not in the video. So I'm not sure if I asked that time or if she decided to go into the trot on her own. Looks like maybe I had asked her because I didn't bend her to a stop, but she might have just trotted off a couple of steps and then stopped on her own as well. And then she was kind of distracted. There's something off in the woods to the left side of the screen. I'm not really sure what it was, but she's doing well with bringing her attention back again. So, and I'm just switching my whip so that's on the inside of whenever we're turning, so it's the inside of the route pen is what I'm doing there, and she's cool with all that, which you've seen multiple times. So I'm going to get her to trot, and then we're going to do some posting. So I asked her to trot by the gate again, and then I stopped in the leaves there and you couldn't see me, so I cut that part out. But those were her first, like, I know in the last video or the one previous, she did a couple of trot steps, and I think I posted like once or twice. So that was her first like few couple of strides where I'm like actively posting, and she did really well. So that looked really nice because I want to start working on posting for longer amounts of time, trotting for longer amounts of time, and then building ourselves up to the canter. So that's really where we're going right now. And yeah, some of this is going to be cut up because you can't see me. Like, unfortunately, the leaves are in the way, and that's why the cuts are in there. So, but I like how free and loose she is walking. She's probably anticipating the trot a little bit over here, which is totally fine. Okay with that. Like I said before, she does have quite a bit of a magnet to the gate, so I do want to make more work happen there. It's not going to be like unnecessary work. I know lots of times that can happen where people are just like, well, we'll just work them by the magnet and just do random stuff. I want to do what I'm going to work at on that day at the gate or wherever the magnet might be, because that's important. But I don't want to do anything excessive. So that's a beautiful trot. Wow. I love her head and neck's really low. She's nice and relaxed. I did a little bit of posting. That looks really, really, really good. So, and you can see like it's a little bit harder for her to stay out on that circle to the right. And it's probably because she's probably more dominant on that right front, which is what most horses are. So she kind of falls in on that one, and it's easier for her to stay out on that left rein. But I mean, again, she's very green. She's working on carrying the weight of the rider, so it's not a big deal. I do notice it though, and we'll work on that later. But just doing little baby steps right now. So yeah, that was the part I cut out where it was like that, where I was under the tree. But ask her to go forward. And she does want to come stand in the middle by my helper, so that's kind of becoming a little bit of a magnet, so I do need to watch that, because you can see there when I first started her, asking her to trot, she really wanted to go right there, and I should have probably popped her back into the trot and asked again, and then had her stop back there, because that is becoming somewhat of a magnet. And I just had her walk past it, which was good, but I should have had her stop back here where I'm at right now and let her rest, because that's what she's looking for, is a place to rest. But yeah, that's what I would have fixed with that right there. Try and keep her out a little bit more, going this direction. No, a little bit more than before. I should have been more consistent with that as well. I definitely think I realized it at the time, but I don't think I realized the importance. That looks really nice. Nice little trot there. That looked really pretty. Again, she's a nice mover. Like, she has a really nice smooth trot, so it worked out that I could trot her bareback for so long. Obviously, she's a Western pleasure bred quarter horse. Obviously, other breeds are not going to be that easy, and I would start trotting with under the saddle a little bit sooner. That looked really, really nice. I probably should have had her go past the gate a little bit more, but I think I was more stuck on, like, let's just do a couple more strides of trot. I'm gonna fast forward through here. We're just making like a little training plan here, but really so far I haven't really needed my ground person very much at all. But yeah, so I could have tried to pass that a little bit more, probably asked a little bit more from her, because she also got in the habit of, oh, here's 3 strides, I'm gonna stop now. So that means I'm not asking enough. She needs to move on to the next thing when she's there. So a couple times 3 strides, and then 4 strides, and 5 strides, and build it up from there, because she's gonna start getting sticky and be like, oh, well, I only ever do 3 strides. Okay, 3 strides and stop. So they just, that's part of the behavior now, and I'm going to chain it in accidentally, and you don't want to do that. So you don't want 3 strides and then stop and then treat, and then they could get a little frustrated with that if you do that too much. So you want to move on to the next thing, which would be, in my case, adding in more strides, or you could add a different behavior, whatever it is you're working on. That was a really nice smooth turn. And again, you can see that she stays much further out on this left rein. So I definitely noticed it, but I don't think I paid as much attention to it at the time as I should have, because I really want her to be more balanced and worked on that and keeping her out, even though I know she's green and I know she has a lot to work on, but I could have probably done a little bit better job with that. So I think she's offering the trot here for me, and I'm just going to bend her to a stop. Tell her that's not exactly what I want. Same thing here, she's offering that trot. And she does come back really nicely. I didn't even have to bend her all the way. Like, as soon as she stops trotting, I just kind of take that bend, or let go of that bend, let her go straight again. Same thing here. So again, she's telling me I'm not balancing. I'm rewarding only those forward behaviors. I need to reward the standing still behaviors. I need to reward the downward transitions, the slowing down. Or I could even do some trot and then ask for halt and then reward. So there's lots of different things, but I definitely should have been rewarding standing still and building up the amount of time that we can stand still. But again, at the time, I was just doing a lot more negative reinforcement and a lot less positive. So, you know, I was more focused on the going forward than anything else. So again, she's anticipating. So this is the same issue that we had before with not wanting to stand still. It's going into the trot. So they're very connected. But I mean, overall, like, she's trying, like, she is being very good. She's doing what I've taught her, inadvertently or not. Like, she's doing what I've asked of her. So I just had her come and stop here, and we've always stop here and get off and attack.